Hi everybody, aloha. This is Dr. Summer Nicole of Yoga Doctors TV, and I'm here with my friend Nikki Jade.
Hi!
She's visiting James, my husband, and I here in Kauai, and we've gotten to spend some really beautiful time together on the beach and in the ocean and snorkeling, and we feel really called to share a lot of the stuff that we have been talking about and doing and practicing while we've been together. So she is an amazing body worker, and she does something called body-mind mapping, and I had my first session with her last night actually, and it was so amazing because I think, and I'll just share a brief sum up of sort of like what happened to me. I think I'm still processing the whole thing, and but you know, she was body mind mapping is about, okay, what emotions are you holding, what beliefs, memories you're holding, and what areas of your body, right? And so she was working around my neck, and it was something I think around here, right? And
and also here, I remember.
And here, jaw stuff, and so she asked me, she said that this was about obligation. She says, what are you feeling obligated to? And I was face down on the table, and then I immediately get this memory of myself. I'm like 4 or 5 years old, and I'm with my family in South Florida fishing. Everybody's on a little fishing boat, and I wasn't interested in fishing at all, and so I just start cleaning the boat, and I just am sharing the memory with her, like not really thinking anything of it. And then she says, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, and she goes, "Well, you're literally doing like an act of service, right? Like you didn't feel wanted or whatever if you weren't fishing, right? Like you weren't fishing like everybody else wanted you to do, but you couldn't just be there, like, you know, with yourself and be yourself, not liking fishing. You had to like do something basically." And so I'm like, this is a little 5-year-old like cleaning the inner walls of the boat, but it's just so interesting to think about, and you know, it really led into the whole session. But what came out of it for me was this whole and I really can see it, how it's like tracked through my whole life. It is like this feeling like I need to be useful, or I need to be helpful in order to be enough, like in order to be, you know, good enough or whatever it is, and that it's hard for me to just relax, or it was in the past, harder for me to relax and just be myself, you know, because I have this unconscious old story in my mind that told me that I needed to do something, I needed to be helpful, I needed to be useful, right? I needed to feel needed is basically what it was.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, hi everyone. It's so, thanks for sharing. That's vulnerable to, you know, share what you've been through. And I love that I got to work on you, because I don't work on one-on-one anymore except for my year-long clients.
I got so lucky.
And I'm like, yeah, this is fun. And it was so cool. You could see how powerful just one session is. You know, her and her husband James are like, I have a lot to chew on now. You know, like, and the connections are made because when you bring this new awareness to what you're holding on inside your body, and what memories, it's incredible. What memories are still living inside of you. And the memories are there because there's an emotion that's attached to it. There's a belief system. I call it, you know, what BS is keeping you stuck? What belief system is keeping you stuck? Because anything of, oh, I'm not wanted, right? That's a belief. That is not true, because I want you. I love being with you. You know, like I want your time. And it's powerful to see what comes up when you're doing transformational work on yourself. And we use pain. I use pain to indicate to me where there's a block. So if her right side of her neck was having an issue, I know there's this thing about obligation and not trusting choice. So we got to dig into it, and as we're just starting to dig into it, this memory came forward that she got to share. And this happens to me all the time, of clients being like, oh, I'm having this memory come up, and I'm like, oh, let's talk about it, because I know that it's living in their body and coming up for a reason, right? So then it's my beautiful honor and gift to be able to help them discover what the connection is, like, why is it still there, why is it lingering around, and how is that affecting their life today.
Beautiful. Yeah, and it really tied into, and this is why I wanted to see her for a session, is that for the last few years I've been having kind of repetitive strains in my body, and I'm at a place in my life where I'm able to, you know, I'm in Kauai, and I'm able to really nurture myself and like just be and not have to have a regular, you know, clientele like I always have in the past. And so it's interesting because during this period is when I started to have these repetitive strains in my body.
Yes.
And really it's like I connected the dots like after the session, and it was like because I had this unconscious story that I needed to be, you know, needed, right? That I needed to be useful. I needed to be contributing. I needed to be doing something that I couldn't just be. It's almost like the injuries, the repetitive injuries I was getting was like this an excuse for, you know, to allow me to be, because I couldn't just do it on my own. I'm like, oh, I'm injured, so I can't do that. I mean, I'm still processing this. So it's like fascinating to me that it came up during the session. I'm like, yes, because I've just been trying to dig at this for actually quite a long time, and so I'm happy to share Nikki Jade with you guys, because it's such a beautiful process, and you know, I've worked a lot with like, you know, Caroline Mace and Louise Hay, and how emotions like are stored in the body, and I do somato-emotional release, which is a similar process, just connecting to your subconscious mind. But with the body-mind mapping, she has really specific questions that she can answer you for certain areas, that she can ask you in certain areas of the body, that will, it's always almost like surprising to you what comes up, because it is oftentimes subconscious or completely unconscious. And so it takes sometimes that objective person, you know, to ask the right question to get you to go there, because we have a lot of coping mechanisms and we have a lot of defense mechanisms that make us, you know, sort of do this to any of those like old beliefs or old hurts or, you know, old pains that we might have.
Yeah. I love what you brought up about how your hip is having, you know, was having pain. And we were sharing about how, you know, over like 12 years ago, I got diagnosed with celiac disease. And we were saying how, you know, people, they start to own a disease that the authorities gave them, or they start to own and identify the pain that they feel regularly, instead of, one, believing that you can heal it, and two, seeing it as healed. It's like allow it to like stop looking for it.
Stop looking for it all the time.
Totally. I've worked with incredible people, and I'm thinking of this one professional athlete, football player, and he would come in and he had such a big why, because his career was online, right? That's his livelihood. And so we work on his knee, and at the end of the session he's like looking for the pain. He's like, the pain's gone. I'm so confused. I'm like, you came here so the pain would go, so stop like expecting for it to come back. He's like, really? Like it could just be gone like that? And that's such a huge part, is actually believing that the pain could be gone like that.
Yeah, it's so true that it can instantly be gone because it was from, you know, something that you were holding, you know. And in some cases, I do have to say, it's like, just from my experience as a physical therapist, if it's been a long-standing thing, like for some of the time, it's like, yes, like the emotional component, the energetic component is the cause, but because it's been in your body for so long, in the tissues of your body, you still need like that fascial work, or you know, the body work, or whatever it is. And oftentimes, you know, people aren't even searching for that type of thing, and they'll go get a massage and they end up crying and they don't really know why, you know. So her type of work, and you know, it's the type of work that I just love so much, because it gets you more like to the root of why you're feeling, you know, pain, like physical pain and discomfort in your body.
Totally. In my signature program, Pain to Power program, I go into depth with the body-mind mapping. And what I love about my mentor is that he was so specific. And I feel so honored that I got to be with him while he was alive, because he was so gifted at literally seeing. At age 11, he said to his mom, "Mom, why is everyone lying? I can see what they're thinking, I can see what they're feeling, but they're saying something different."
He was a shaman, right?
Yeah. So he'd be able to like see, and he would use coyote medicine to be able to like, I see how I have adapted that, and to like to trigger people, and to have them like, to joke with them so that they can get to the serious stuff. You know, so it's not all like serious. Like I have a lot of fun with my clients and at my events. It's like we're playing, we're laughing, and we're also crying, and having the breakthroughs. But if this is something, a lesson that I think that these people watching will have a huge takeaway, is I want to inspire you to listen to pain early. And I teach in the Pain to Power program the feather brick truck, and how the pain has to get louder and louder and louder, because this body, right, this vessel that we live in, is meant to be there to connect us with our intuition, to allow spirit to like live in us and guide our every move. And when we're having pain, I believe it's a way for the universe to be like, hey, just stop for a second, because you're having a thought that's really not serving you. And if you ever like have a stiff neck, if you ever have hip, it's like hip in your pain in your hip, then you're like, you can't really think of anything else. It's like, your attention is there.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the gem, is your attention is there. So if you can slow down and connect what you were just thinking about, what is weighing on your mind, because that's going to be an access point for you to create a lot of freedom into your life. If you can be like, that's where I'm feeling stuck. You know, my husband just really pissed me off because he didn't listen to me. So I'm like, oh, okay, let's go into what that made you feel. Like, what did it make you feel when you didn't listen? It made me feel like I'm not important. Oh, let's explore that belief of you're not important. Where did that stem from? And then, you know, it's like an investigation process using body-mind mapping. And it's been really freaking powerful and fun. And I'm so glad you got to experience it.
Yeah, and you're saying, like, acknowledge it when it's like the pain feels like a feather, like your body's just tapping you, versus like, what's the other one? Like a truck hitting you.
So it goes from feather, like the tickle, like I give this example. Say someone, Mary, gets a paper cut. So she gets a paper cut, and if she ignores that, then later on, whether it's a week later or the same day or a year later, that same body part's still holding the same emotion. And then a brick is going to come thrown through the window, and it's like, and that's when she is rushing to work, and her finger, the same finger, gets slammed in the door. And it causes like a fracture, and she's like, ow, what's up with this finger, right? Or, you know, when people get breast cancer and it keeps coming back, it's because they didn't get to the emotional root cause of it.
Yeah.
And then the truck, if we ignore the feather, if we ignore the brick, then comes the truck, the Mack truck. It's like, and it like smacks you on your ass, you're in bed, you have no choice but to be still.
Yeah.
And when you're in that place, you get to make the connections a lot faster.
It's like the universe making you be present.
Exactly.
Because you weren't being present with anything else.
Exactly.
Good. So are there any last little takeaways that you'd like to give people on how they can access you?
Sure. Yeah, there's so many. I have Loving Every Day. That's like my place where I interview amazing people like you who are loving their life and living in their gift.
Yep, so find her page, Loving
Every Day. And then I have my signature program, Pain to Power. And then my soul medicine is this 8-week transformational journey that I take 8 women through. So that's for people that are really committed to like going deep, transforming, and we just have so much fun. Then we get together live for a retreat. So that's really fun too. But you can go to NikkiJade.com, NIKKIJADE.com, and there'll be all sorts of stuff there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, babe. Thank you for doing Yoga Doctors and helping people be healed.
We truly hope this helps you.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste. Let's see. Where is the finish? Oh, it's right here. I wonder. Yeah.